Hello, my dear friends. Today's video is going to be very important, very special. And hopefully the situation where you would need to use the information from that video will never happen to you. But just to get aware and just to know how to act in a difficult situation when something happened, something serious happened with you or your loved one, or maybe you know somebody whose loved one right now is in the hospital, and this information could be very useful. Because I remember myself in 2016, it was about 8 p.m. I think, and I had a phone call from the hospital saying that my husband is in the hospital. He has been in a serious car accident and my attention is very needed. So I remember I went to the hospital, and the picture that I saw was so scary and so emotionally difficult that I almost lost it. But that is so important in this particular situation, when we are so stressed, when we are so fearful, when we afraid of the worst. That's when we need to take charge and manifest the good. And the way this works is every thought has an energetic frequency, and the thoughts of joy, love, pleasure, those thoughts raise our frequency. And the thoughts of fear, anger, despair, any stress would lower the vibrational frequency. And the level of our frequency where we are, that's what determines what we are attracting to ourselves. So when we are in a low vibrational frequency, when we have fear, when we have anger, when we are stressed, we attract the situation where we would experience these emotions over and over again. So our task is to raise our vibrational frequency, to manifest the good, to attract the good. So let me tell you the story, how it happened in very short, and then I'll get you right to the action plan that I created that could be so helpful for so many. So when I went to the hospital and I saw that picture, and I remember his eye was so big, it was like a tennis ball. He was saying nonsense. He didn't know who he was. He didn't know where he was. He was throwing up and he had a seizure. And the doctor told me that he needs a surgery soon. He had a super bad head injury. He was actually sitting in the back seat of the car and he wasn't buckled in. So when the accident happened, he flew forward and broke the windshield. So in that moment, I experienced such a huge fear of losing him. And we had two kids at that time. The youngest one was not even, he was a year old or so. And instead of crying and being scared and imagining the worst case scenario, I did the different thing. And when next day, I remember I came to the hospital after the surgery happened. I asked the doctor, I said, what's the prognosis? What's the best? Give me the best case scenario. And he said, we don't know yet, but if you want the best case scenario, it will probably be a month of him being in the hospital. Hopefully he won't need the speech therapy. Hopefully he will need minimal physical therapy. But the surgery, the blood clot that he had to remove from his brain, leaking inside of his skull, was the biggest in his experience. So that's how serious the injury was. And after doing what I did that day, he was released in 5 days. No side effects, feeling great, no speech therapy, not even physical therapy was needed. So I just remember how strong and powerful the things were, and practically anyone can do this if you know what to do. So what you will need for this is a piece of paper, a notebook, and a pen. We're gonna do it old school. We're not gonna use our phone, but we're just gonna use it, regular piece of paper, sit down, relax as much as you can. I know it's gonna be difficult, but you can just breathe in a couple times, set an intention of manifesting the good. And the first thing you will need to write down is the worst case scenario. And this is needed just for one reason, and I'll get there. The second item that you will need to write is the best case scenario. So what is the best case scenario? Be very generous here. Imagine the miraculous scenario. How good can it be? And write it all in the present tense. And no, don't use negative words. For example, something like having no side effects could be rephrased and said as being released, completely healed, completely healthy, right? So for me, as an example for you, I wrote something like, Peter, that's my husband's name. Peter is released from the hospital. He is healed and fully healthy. He feels great and happy. And then the reason we write the worst case scenario, because we need to acknowledge it and we need to understand that it's normal. It's normal to have this fear and it can happen, but we are going to look at our two items and we're going to say to ourselves, I understand why I have this fear. I acknowledge it. It can happen. But today, we are going to do things different. Today, I am going to focus on the good, on the best case scenario. And I believe I'm entitled to earn this. So next thing, item number 3, you will need to describe in detail of what you want to happen, and more important, how you want to feel. Write it all also in the present tense. And as an example, what I wrote, I mean, I just kind of recreated what I wrote, but even though it was several years ago, I do remember everything like it was yesterday. So I wrote something like, God is helping us right now. He is Peter. Peter is healing every second. His body is so smart that is activated the superpower of healing. The surgeon is the most experienced and best at his job. The nurses are the most caring and professional. The surgery is very successful and goes the best it can. Peter is very strong. He is released from the hospital and feels great and healed. He can walk, talk, see fine. I'm so happy. That's where your emotions come. I'm so happy things turned out in the best possible way. I'm so grateful for God's help. I'm so excited that he feels great. We are hugging each other and laughing together. We are celebrating his victory. We are celebrating his full recovery. It feels so real, so warm, and so delightful. And this is where we start reprogramming our brain into thinking the good thing. Item number 4, you will want to write all the gratitude you have for God is looking into your case right now and personally taking care of you and your loved one. And for me, it was, I practically put gratitude word, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, in front of every sentence of number 3 items. So for example, Peter is healing every second. I would say, I'm so thankful that Peter is healing every second. I'm so thankful his body is so smart and strong. I'm so thankful that the surgeon is the best. I'm so thankful the nurses are the most professional, the most experienced, the most caring. I'm so glad, I'm so thankful. And this way, the gratitude is one of the best ways to raise the vibrational frequency. And when we say things with gratitude, that's when we experience this emotion of happiness, and that helps so much. And so write down all your gratitude. Next thing, we want to visualize, and here this is important, to visualize as much as you can and to feel that feeling that you described, to feel how good it would feel whenever all this happens, whenever you realize all these things are behind, how you laughing, how you smiling, how everything happened, and how you, like, you can imagine how you're telling this story to the other people, how good things are and how happy you are, how grateful you are. And that emotion that we experience, that's what helps us recreate that in reality. And visualization is important. We need to work as much as we can, and that will be tough. I'm saying right away it will be tough, but you can do this as much as possible during the day. When things go in mess in our head, and that will happen, we need to consciously stop ourselves and be like, no, this is something I don't want. I'm letting it go, and I am choosing to focus on the gratitude. I'm choosing to focus on this, and you visualize how good it feels. And I remember I was visualizing how, like, he is coming out of the hospital, he's been released, he's on a wheelchair, but then it was the time to, like, say goodbye. He gets up and starts walking, and we walking together, we're smiling, we're laughing, we are so happy. And this is the picture I was visualizing. So after I came home, after I wrote, I actually did it all in the hospital while I was waiting for a final decision of when and how. I came home and my mom was there. She helped to find a nice video, the number 6 item. We need to distract ourselves from this, at least temporarily, at least right after we write down all these things. Because what will happen is our brain will get so overworked that we need to give it a chance to relax. We need to give it a chance to feel something good. And what we watched, we just went on YouTube and Googled, searched for some kids talented. There is a show in my country where kids perform some talents, and I mean it's a program that everyone loves, and the kids are so cute. They are talking, you know, the kid language, and so you need to kind of focus on what they say. The host of the show asks some questions and the kids answer, and it's cute, and sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's just adorable. And then the child performs. He would either sing or say something or perform the talent. And this show is so, I mean, this was just a perfect choice because you would need to focus on what they say and how they do it. And then they show the parents in the audience, they show the host of the show, they show the child. So it's constant, like you kind of need to be there to understand what's happening. So you don't go back to those bad thoughts. And probably for an hour or so, we watched it. And it was several kids, and it was so cute and so relaxing. And so we experienced good emotions. So it was a good distraction. And then I went to bed. And it was that night, I didn't sleep. Just that picture that I saw in the hospital with him looking so bad. And every time that picture was in my head, I was enhancing the gratitude and repeating over and over, I'm so thankful for the best doctor. I'm so thankful that the surgery is going great. I'm so thankful that he's recovering. I'm so thankful he is his body is so strong. And thank you, God, for helping us. Thank you, God, I need you right now. I appreciate you. I love you. And like trying to fall asleep, but I couldn't. I just couldn't, because as soon as I closed my eyes, I saw him in the hospital, practically lost and having a seizure, and that looked so horrible. So I did manage to survive that night. But what happened during that night is I reprogrammed myself. I repeated it so many times that I honestly believed it so much that there seriously was not a choice for another situation. And in the morning when I went there to the hospital, I took his hand. The surgery went well. I took his hand and he was not conscious, but I took his hand and I said, you are so strong. I'm so proud of you. You are healing. You are recovering. And things are so gonna be good for us. And yeah, I just remember when he became conscious, and that happened that same day. He was like, I feel fine. Nothing hurts. He remembered who he was. He remembered everybody. So there was no memory loss. Yes, his eye was all covered. I remember it looked really bad, but he had the thing dripping out of his skull, like there was a blood dripping out. That's, the process that was supposed to happen. They were supposed to clean out whatever leaked inside. So, but he felt good. I brought him some homemade food, of course, because hospital food is horrible. So if you do have a chance, bring some good, nutritious, natural healing food for your loved one, because it helps a lot. And I remember his mom came, and his mom is a doctor, so she was there. She was talking to nurses, she was talking to doctors, and she told me later on that the nurses came to her and they said, Peter's wife, she's very different. She looks like she is very vulnerable, but she's so strong and her energy is so powerful. So, and I remember that day. I think next day after that, physical therapy people were supposed to come to help him get up. But by the time they came, he was already walking around the stand. And everybody were looking at him, and everybody were thinking, how is this possible? How is this possible that this person who had such a serious, severe trauma, serious surgery and all these things, how is he walking around? And when the physical therapy people, I think maybe it was day number 4, when they came, they were like, we have nothing to do here. And in my mind, all this was a miracle. And it was so powerful. It was so, I felt like God is there for me, and it all worked out. So important to learn how to refocus, to stop yourself, and to have this ability to substitute the thoughts, to switch the thoughts, and to know that this will work if you do it right. And maybe my example, my story, could be a proof for anyone that this will work if we do it right. Whew. Another thing I did, actually, I remember, because it's so common for us to be stressed and scared and kind of expect the worst things to happen. So I remember that morning, after that sleepless night I had, I actually sent a text message to all the relatives who were aware of what happened. I sent a message with practically the same thing, that, guys, everything's gonna be okay. And this is what we are going to think. This is, I want you all to repeat. This I want you all to focus on. And I wrote out in the text message all these things. We are so thankful for this and this. We are so thankful for the best doctor, for the best hospital, for his health, for his body, for his healing, for everything. So when all my relatives got this message, they all told me later on, they were like, wow, this was so strong and so powerful. And it worked. A person who, in the best case scenario, by the doctor's forecast, was supposed to stay in the hospital for months and have a lot of healing, was released in 5 days. So I hope that this video could reach people who need to hear this. And if you know someone, please share it. Also, this can be used practically in any situation, in any stressful situation. So if you understand how this works and what is happening, why are we acknowledging the worst case scenario? Why are we choosing to let it go? Why are we focusing on the best case scenario? Why are we visualizing? Why are we expressing gratitude before it even happened, right? When you understand that this can work practically in any situation, in any stressful situation, when we are programmed to be stressed, to be fearful, to be angry, to feel despair, we can choose to feel a different feeling, to experience a different emotion, and to manifest the good thing. It's all possible. And I actually manifested so many good things in my life. And subscribe to my channel. I have a couple more videos right now, but I am planning on recording a lot more, because manifestation is such a powerful thing. And when you in tune with God, when you are in tune with yourself, with your inner self, with the inner energy, you can do anything you want. You can create anything you want in life. And when you do that, you can create your dream life. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Please share this video with anyone who needs. And write your comments. If you have any questions, If you have any other suggestions, maybe for someone else, maybe share your story in the comments for someone else to see and get inspired, to maybe get an additional proof of this thing, that it can work for us if we know how to do it, right? So that's all for today. And this video, I want you to know that you can use it on yourself. You can use it on anyone you know, you love, and it will work if you do it right. Once again, I'm gonna write out in description of what the steps are, and that's all for today. I will see you soon.